So you're thinking about buying an Action 4, or you've recently purchased one and you're looking for a video that's going to explain the settings and how to get the best quality video from this device. Well, you're in the right place. In this video I'm going to be explaining what settings to change to get the maximum quality from your Action 4. I'll also be explaining which settings are optional and explaining what they do and why you need to turn them on and off in different scenarios. So let's jump straight into it. Now before we dive into the menu system of the Action 4, I'm just going to say it straight off the bat. There's only two settings in the Action 4 that need to be set to get the best quality from it. Now before anybody jumps on me in the comments and says you don't know what you're talking about, hear me out. These two things, once they're set, everything else is optional depending on your situation. So let's jump straight into it. So the first thing we're going to do is open up the menu and go down to video compression. Now this is one of the only settings in the menu system that can alter video quality. Go down to video compression and I'm going to explain the difference between HEVC and H.264. So HEVC, which also stands for High Efficiency Video Coding, is a newer of the two video compression modes that we get. It gives a slight increase in video quality and also smaller file sizes. The only downside to using HEVC is that it's the newer of the two video compression modes, and many devices and video editing programs really struggle with this video compression. So my advice would be do a couple of test video shots with HEVC and see if your device can handle this video compression mode in your video editing software. Now let's take a look at the H.264 and its benefits. Now because H.264 is the older of our two video compression modes, most programs and devices can handle this video compression setting no problem at all. The disadvantages of using H.264 are larger file sizes and a marginal decrease in video quality. So like I say, test out HEVC, see if your device and video editing software can run this video compression mode. If it can, you're all good. If your device struggles with this video compression mode, switch over to H.264. Next, we're going to head out of our main menu and head to our video resolution, which can be accessed by swiping up on the bottom of the screen. Once you're inside, you can see the top half is our resolution, and to get the best quality you want to set the resolution to the highest setting, which in this case is 4K. Now the two numbers next to our 4K resolution are our aspect ratio. Now without going into too much depth of aspect ratios and boring the living daylights out of you, 16:9 is the standard video aspect ratio, and for 99% of people this would be your desired choice. Now just changing them two settings will give you the maximum bitrate for video quality, meaning that you're going to get the best video quality from your action camera. Leave everything else in auto mode, and for 99% of people, like I say, this is going to be perfectly fine and you're going to be happy with the results. But for those of you that want a bit more deep diving into the menu systems and your options, I'm going to explain a few more settings now. So next we're going to look at our frame rate, which is below our resolution. Now this could be a whole video on itself that could last for hours upon hours about frame rates, the benefits of using them and the disadvantages of using them. I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible, so bear with me. If you're in Europe, Asia, Australia or Africa, you want to set your frame rate to 25 frames per second. If you live in America, then you want to set your frame rate to 30 frames per second. Now you're probably wondering why you should set your frame rate to either one of these settings depending on which continent you live on, and it all comes down to your household electrical frequency. Again, without boring the tits off you, if you set your frame rate to a different continent's household electrical frequency, when you're filming in artificial light, you will get black bars or flickering in your footage. This is because our frame rate is not in time with our light's flicker. Here is an example of our frame rate not matching our household electrical frequency. So you're probably wondering why we get all these different options in our frame rates. Well, if we increase our frame rate, we can either smooth out the footage or slow it down in post. The only thing to remember is to keep your frame rate to multiples of your original frame rate to avoid that flickering you'll get in your video footage. Here's a quick cheat sheet to remind you which frame rates are for your location. Next we're going to be having a look at our field of view, and we have three settings in here: standard, wide or ultra wide. Now this comes down to your personal preference and how wide you want your shot to be. I personally like standard view, but that's just my personal preference. Choose which one works best for you. Next we're going to look at EIS priority in low light, and this stands for electronic image stabilization in low light. And to keep this as simple as possible, what this means is, do you want to prioritize image stabilization in low light, or do you want to prioritize image quality? Now in low light situations, the stabilization built into these digital cameras isn't very good, but if we prioritize this mode, the camera will do its best to keep the footage as stable as possible, but at the cost of image quality. So that is something for you to consider in your situation. Is it image quality or stabilization that you want to prioritize? Next we're going to look at image adjustment, and in this setting we get to change our sharpness and noise reduction levels. Now straight out the box, DJI have done a fantastic job with the sharpness and noise reduction already built into the camera, so my advice would be to leave these settings alone unless you're finding yourself needing a little bit more noise reduction or a little bit more sharpness in a particular setting or situation. And the final thing we're going to take a look at in this video is the low light image enhancement, whether to have this on or off. And to keep this as simple as possible, if this setting is enabled, then the camera automatically detects low light situations and automatically turns on the noise reduction and keeps the image as best as it can be in low light situations. I recommend keeping this on at all times. So there you have it, how to get the best out of your DJI Osmo Action 4. Now if you've got anything at all from this video, please give it a big thumbs up. If you have any questions, please put them below in the comment section. If you want to see further videos from myself, hit that subscribe button, tickle the bell, and we'll catch up in the next video. Oh, and whilst you're here, why don't you check out this video also? See you soon.